Right.
All right. All right. But everything's good though. Everything's good. I don't have any complaints. Just working on the my pod and trying to get prepared for next week's episode. But that's all we working on right now at the moment.
Okay, gotcha. So, I know I look at a lot of things that you're doing on TikTok, and I see it's all around like self-awareness, mental health, taking care of yourself first, take care of you first, and I love what I'm seeing. So, what made you go through it? What made you jump on that topic first?
Okay, well, I appreciate you. Really, honestly, it's just from personal experience. Just knowing how much work I had to do as a person to become who I am today. It starts with loving yourself and it starts with having, self awareness that maybe you don't have everything that you think you have. And that's okay. And, this is a space and this is a spot for me to let people know that I'm not my best, you're not your best, but together we can work on becoming our best selves. So,
Right.
of course, being
You
in
know,
HR and, working in that, that's how it all became. Because when I was in HR, I mean, all I did was talk to people on how you should do this, how you should do that, what your life is looking like, how you can fix your life. So it was just a smooth transition for me. And it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm making an impact. That's really the biggest thing.
making a difference in other people's lives.
Hmm. Exactly.
I was listening to Will Smith today on a podcast, and so what he was talking about with mental health. He said when you walk in a room, everybody got issues. He said you can see it on their face. You don't have to ask, you don't have to speak on it. He said the biggest thing about it is it's like it's like the thing you don't speak about, you don't say, but you just know. And everybody's dealing with something. Don't know how small or how big, but you're dealing with something.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. It's always going to be something, but also too, I don't think a lot of people talk about mental health because they feel like if I tell you that something's going on here, you're gonna think I'm crazy. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? People don't want to be looked at as, oh, snap. Like you saying something wrong here, that means something wrong with you. You need to go see somebody, they're gonna talk to you. All of us deal with stuff. It's just how we all deal with things in different manners, but there's not a right way to deal with everything. The moral of the story is if you need help and if something is going on up here that's not usual or not normal to you, you need to go seek the help. Not caring about how people look at you, how people see you, because at the end of the day, we're living our own lives. So if something is wrong with me, I'm the one who have to deal with that. Other people doesn't. So if there's something going on up here, you need to go talk about it. Rather it's to a therapist, rather it's to your partner, your friend, family members, whoever. But mental health is a real thing, and people suffer in silence, thinking that they do not have, they don't have a safe space,
Hmm.
right? And it's just making sure that when I'm talking to people on my platforms that I'm making well letting it be known that this is a safe space for everyone, not just for black women, not just for queer people, it's for everybody. I want to make sure it's inclusive because I could be sitting next to a person and they could be going through something they don't want to say nothing to nobody because they think people gonna judge them. It's just about making people feel comfortable. That's my biggest thing.
Right. Well, I know one of the biggest things in our culture, in the black culture, it's like it's one of the things where people, I think they face more things like pray it away or stay tough or stay strong rather
Hmm.
than understanding being able to seek the help. Because I went,
Exactly.
I'm big on going to counseling. I'm big on seeking therapy because a lot of people feel like, oh, it ain't gonna help me. It's not gonna do this. Not gonna do that. It's not gonna take things away. No, it's not gonna take things away. But what it does, it give you the skill set to be able to work on you or be able to, when those things come up and it bother you, you're able to, what I'm saying, get through it a little better than you did before.
Hmm.
And I believe in that. Like when my mom passed, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I wouldn't have went to counseling. And I had to went to counseling like three, four times before that. Even with dealing with my mother with the things she had going on, I went to counseling to understand what what she was going through and what I was going through and how can I better our relationship. And by doing it, it helped. But in our culture, you have a lot of people they don't want to go to counseling. Oh, I ain't talking to that person or whatever. They don't know me and all of this and above. But not understanding once you get that skill set, it'll help build you. It'll help build you to be able to sustain when you come across that situation and be able to help someone else.
Exactly. And I think, too, it's also like you said, it's a cultural thing, but also things that we were taught when we were younger. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? When we look at things and we saw people when we were younger, they told us certain things about you'll be all right, suck it up, you strong, you good, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
I mean, we all need help in some way.
Hmm.
And I know individuals look at counseling or therapy like, oh, well, I can't find anyone for me or someone who understands me. It takes time. Sometimes you got to go to three, four, five, six different therapists to find someone who is right for you and find somebody who will understand what you're going through,
Hmm.
and I talked about this too, about just minorities, about how when our family talks to us about certain things, we try to push things under the rug and not actually talk about the situations or the issues that we have that are at hand at the moment. um, and it's very hard for us to unlearn that behavior if we were raised with that behavior for so long. So,
Hmm.
I would always say, the first step to, you know trying to get help with mental health is unlearning what you learned or what you thought mental health was, or what you thought mental health is. You
Yeah.
have to unlearn that first in order for you to be able to accept the help.
Yeah, and there's certain key words in our culture, and it's like this: what goes on in this house, stay in this house. Oh man, that's a big one.
Mm,
And that psychologically, in your mind, that it kills some of your voice. Because it's like, okay, if I tell somebody this, I'm gonna get in trouble. If I speak to somebody about this, I'm gonna get in trouble because we can't talk about what goes on in this house. You know what I mean?
right.
And then,
Hmm.
yeah, and then in the South, it's like we do. A lot of people do that go along, get along. That's why I stand out different. I don't believe in that go along, get along. Make a difference. I'm gonna make a ripple effect. If I can
Right.
cause an ocean,
Right.
I'm gonna do it. And but I think with them words with terminology, and also don't be a telltale. You know what I'm saying? People take that in. So those two is what goes on in this house. Stay in this house and don't be a telltale. That kind of like that contain you in a box because you unsure. Should I say something? Should I not say something? And then guess what? It carries on in your life, and you just end up dealing with problems, dealing with issues without having an outlet because you've been taught from a kid you don't supposed to have an outlet. So that makes the difference in our culture, definitely. You know what I mean? So I think
Hmm.
about it all the time.
Yeah, and this also, when you say when we're younger and they say this, it's called cultural programming, right? Because we're programmed in our mind to say, "Oh, snap! Well, what goes on here stays here, and I ain't supposed to say
Yeah.
nothing." You know what I'm saying? I'm scared. I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm scared something gonna happen to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even as we're an adult, we still think about those things, even though we're not a kid anymore, because they affected our lives so much. And you just have to unlearn those things, man. If you really are genuinely wanting to become the best version of yourself, you want your mental health to be where it needs to be, you have to make the effort and make sure that you're not, you know, thinking about things in the past or trying to let those things that you grew up with affect you so much that you feel like you can't ask for help.
Yeah. Well, and and I work on this personally, not being a product of my environment. It's like I do certain like I learned to be different from what I came up under. And so
Mm-hmm.
and when I catch myself doing some of the same things I seen that grew up in my house with my mom and dad, or people I knew, I just started I'm changing. Oh no, I gotta change that. Because you're so comfortable with what you've seen, so it get carried on. And you have to be the difference maker. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
with the new generation and the generation that's coming, you just have to be the you have to be that make that difference. So if that situation don't keep that habit don't keep being carried on with the next generation. The next generation is about being making a difference. Like I don't never get upset with people like I'm gonna just say my dad. You know what I'm saying? My dad 40 something odd years older than me. So how can I get upset with him for the things he learned when he was coming up and what he went through? Because he's born in like 1946. You see what I'm saying? So it's a
Mm-hmm.
gap. So how can I hold him accountable for certain things he didn't know? He just came up the way he did. But it's up to me to do things different. I have to
Correct.
be the difference maker with me personally first, and then with my kids, and then what I put out in the community and what I do to help others.
Right, exactly. And also too, I think as we get older, we start to understand that our parents were learning too at that time. They didn't know. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You can't do
Yeah.
something that you don't know. So I
Yeah.
think that just comes with age for us to realize they were
Mhm.
learning too. We got to cut them some slack. You know what I'm saying? They're just doing things that they learned and that they taught or that they were taught. You know what I mean? And I feel like right now when we're talking about generations, a lot of that gets cut off because a lot of it is not discussed or it's what I like to call a comparison right now. So when
Mhm.
I say comparison, I mean it like right now in the generation now and kids, they're seeing everything from a screen. They're seeing everything for social media, and that's how they think their parents supposed to be. That's how they think their life is supposed to be, and not actually looking at reality, if that makes sense.
It does.
I mean, everything is just really on. My mom is doing these things, but I see this girl on social media and her mom isn't doing that. So what is happening? We're not realizing that everybody is different. Everybody grows up differently. Everybody has different lives, right?
Mhm.
And, I think that's something that we all have to accept too when we're talking about these things, and just know that my life is different from your life. Your life is different from
Mhm.
my life, and that's okay.
Right.
Everybody doesn't need to be the same.
Right. And I think that's part of being, saying, okay, who you are. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Understand, like you said, reality. And I'm big, and I tell people I'm a realist. I understood at a young age the right from wrong. I understood what made sense, what didn't make sense. You know what I mean? And a lot of that is like growing up with parents that was older. So
Mm-hmm.
that, like a lot of people I always told me I was an old man, baby, the way I thought and how I did things. And and I teach my kids this. I put them in reality. I make different analogies or metaphors or different stories that to take their mind from where they at right now and put them into this world so they can understand. Okay, now yeah, Dad, I get it. Yeah, I see what you're saying, and it makes a difference. And
Mm-hmm.
so with doing that, yeah, they're gonna still see this and this and this, but I'm just so much as a realist. Like I tell my kids like, okay, like I'm not gonna be able to do this right now because I got this up coming up and this coming up. But next month I'll make it happen, and they'd be okay with it because that's the way I raised them. Where I was straightforward with them, I spoke on things and I showed them. You know what I mean? When I spoke on what I'm gonna do, and when I showed them what I was gonna do, because
Mm-hmm.
we got so many kids, they get in their feelings and get upset and get pissed off because what they seen on TV or social media is what they want and they want it now, but not understanding what your parents have to go through to make that happen for you.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's why, I think that it is very important, when it comes to kids, but also when it comes to us as adults, is that when
Mhm.
you're waking up first thing in the morning, stop looking at your phone, stop watching TV, stop looking at things that's going to influence your day right when you get up out the bed. Because if you're starting your day with comparison, that's how your full day is going to be compared to any and everything, whether you realize it or not, right? And
Hmm.
to cut down on that, when you wake up in the morning, at least drink a glass of water, do an affirmation, do something that's going to make your day productive.
Right.
That's it.
And, and, um, and you're so right because even algorithm will throw you off because you're looking up this and it might be negative, but guess what's coming behind it? The same thing, negative,
Mm-hmm.
negative, negative. But if you're looking at something positive and you're doing positive in your mind in a positive space, you'll see nothing but positive, positive, positive. And it makes a difference, when you wake up and you get your day started, because every day is not going to be a great day. But if your mind is in a positive place, because something might happen that didn't go your way, but you still staying positive about it, you'll keep leading that way. But if you wake up and your mind is negative and you're looking at negative, how your day going to turn out negative? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it make a
Exactly. The
big difference.
power, the power of positive thinking is literally the best thing. because
Hmm.
I was working at I was working at Home Depot for 4 years, and then I got let go from Home Depot, and then
Hmm.
I literally thought my life was going to end because I, of course, I feel like when that's a life changing event. That was a life changing event
Hmm.
for me.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
I thought about it in a negative sense at first. And then I was like,
Mhm.
hold up. There's a reason why this is happening. There's
Yeah.
something greater for me out there. There's something more that I should be doing. And now this whole entire experience since, the first few weeks to a month, I realized this is a good thing. This is not bad. And now when I'm thinking about it being, it's all positive things are coming out of this one negative situation. Anything
Mhm.
that happens to you negative, you have to find the positive in it. That's the only way you're going to really make it through, your hardships or your hard times. Things may be bad for any of us right now, but we have to
Mhm.
know it doesn't last always. And if you are being positive, if you know that you can get through it, you will make it through it, but you have to program your mind to say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the best of it and I'm going to come out on top. That's the end of the story.
Right. End of story.
That's it. That's it.
It is
That's
so
it.
true. Like everything you just spoke on is 1,000 because you can think about the negative in your situation you're talking about, but if you look at and you take your mind from there, if you step outside that box and think about all the positive around this and how gifted you are, how intelligent you are, and the things that you can do, how you can move people, how you can speak, and what God done bless you with, and you be like, oh shoot, oh I got all of this. But if you just keep focusing on the
Yeah.
negative, you're gonna be right there. That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
That's
it. You're
what's
going to be
up.
stuck.
Yeah,
You're
you're
going
gonna
to
be
be
stuck.
stuck.
Hmm.
Man, you're going to be stuck. And, we have to, even though we talk about ourselves, we have to talk about, like you said earlier, our surroundings, right?
Hmm.
Because if you're with people and hanging with people who are always negative, you're going to be negative, whether you want to or not, but you're a product of your environment. Birds of a
Right.
feather flock together. So if you want better in your life and you want to be positive and you want to do all these great things, you need to hang around people who are like minded, who have something that you want and even more than what you want to reach what you're trying to reach.
Right. Okay, that'll work.
All right, then.